All right, so you're going to take your massage ball, thumbs are going to be together. You lean into the wall and you're just going to start to push in a nice upward trajectory. And you just want to massage and mush into that meaty part of your hands. So you keep your thumbs together. It's like a little W hand. And then just slow down for a minute, let your breath come in and out through your nose. And then all the work that we do today against the wall, feet depending, shoulders depending, all of those kind of things, just make it feel like a nice challenge, something that feels comfortable, something you feel strong and confident with. Hey, Karen, we need a wall today. We need a ball. You need your looping resistance band and a hand weight. And then we're just starting with our thumbs together, pushing on the ball against the wall, just to kind of wake up the hands and get that nice gumminess into our hands and in a little bit of a feeling of aliveness into our arms, because we'll use our hands against the wall quite a bit today. All right, and then one more moment with that thumb position, and then anywhere you want to go. You can go single hand, stack your hands, give a little circular action, something that just kind of wakes your hands up. And then once you feel a little bit more alive in your hands, a little bit warmer perhaps, take one more moment, and then we're going to turn ourselves so that we're facing away from the wall. Let's say there's about a foot's worth of space between your body and the wall. So come just slightly away, and now we're going to twist into the wall. So you got your back to the wall, you're going to twist, let your hands find the wall, push off, come back around, twist to the other side, push, and come back around. Go with a pace that feels good so you feel strong and confident. And if you like, use your exhale to twist into the wall. Nice. And then what I do occasionally is I just check my feet to make sure they feel like they're relatively even. So my one foot wants to come just slightly ahead of the other. So I take a little glance at my feet, make sure they feel pretty. Back to my twisting. Lovely. One side to side. And now you're going to turn face the wall. You're going to go arms so that they're about shoulder height. And then you're going to walk your hands up the wall till you find a little bit of a leaned in plank position. You want to feel like your body gets a little bit firmer to hold you in that position. And then you're going to walk your hands back down the wall to about shoulder height, and then walk your butt back so you're in the wall dog. And then you're going to walk yourself forward again, walk your arms up the wall, find that little bit of a plank-like position, and then walk your arms back down to about shoulder height, and then walk your butt back. And this one, you're just going to go for a nice full minute. So you're going to take your time. Wrists are about shoulder height. We walk up. And when we walk up, we go as far as your arms comfortably go, because everybody's shoulders might behave a little bit different. And then we walk to about shoulder height to walk back to our dog. When you walk back to your dog, everybody's walk back might look a little different. So just go where it feels pretty good. We're about halfway there. 5 seconds left. Now we're going to land in a single arm down dog. So bring your arms to about that shoulder height, walk your butt back, and then you're going to keep one arm connected to the wall and the other one is going to find a little heavy swing. And then you're just going to start a pendulum swing. We're going to swing 30 seconds with one arm and 30 seconds with the other. All right, when you're ready, switch hands and then come back to that pendulum swing. And how narrow or wide your legs are, I like to walk my legs in just a touch narrow so that my hand can kind of swing past my thighs. So get it arranged so it feels like a comfortable enough swing. There's no right or wrong. We're just letting the arm be a little heavy in the shoulder girdle. And then we're getting it to gloss and glide, get that synovial fluid in there. And then it's a little talk with the nervous system because we want the nervous system to know that the shoulder's happy and life is good and movement is a nice thing. All right, take one more swing there. Move a little bit away from your wall. We're going to go 5 heel drops and then a little jog on the spot just to stimulate the bone density work. So get those nice good 5 heel drops going on. Do about 5 and then jog on the spot for about 5 and then back to your heel drops. And when we do our heel drops, everybody who it's available for, you're going to go for that big impact. You want to feel it in your breath. You want to feel like it kind of rattles your bones just a touch. So as much oomph as you can get. As you're doing this is pretty lively work, right? It's got a little dynamicy to it. We're going to go from here to some mountain climbers at the wall, but we're going to shoot for a little bit dynamic, a little powerful in our mountain pose or in our mountain climbers. But if you're feeling like, I just got back from being ill, I want to be a little easy, do the work that feels good. So you're going to find that plank position. So you're going to go hands to the wall, walk your feet back just a touch. And then once you've got that plank position, we're driving the knees up, but go for a little into it, right? Get a little power, get a little speed, drive your knees up, but I'll say always go for the pace that feels just right to you. You want your breath to come up just a little bit. You want to feel like your heart rate comes up just a little bit. And we're putting some good dynamic work into our hip flexors. Nice work. 15 seconds left. All right, that's time. Take a second, come away, give your shoulders, give your wrists, give everybody a little bit of love. I did forget to say one thing. If you have a Pilates ball, that might be nice for this next move. You can do it without, but if you have your Pilates ball, we're gonna go wall sits up and down. So if your shirt or your texture of your wall will let you slide, you can just slide up and down. But if your wall's a little sticky or your fabric has a little bit texture, the ball is gonna give you that little assist. But it also might just feel nice. So ball to the wall or back to the wall, but we're going up and down and go for a nice moderate pace. But you want to see if you can get a little breath coordination. Inhale as you go down and exhale as you come up. Ten seconds left. Now, to tell you where we'll be heading next, we're going to be in that slight inclined plank position, doing some calf raises. Everybody's feet, ankles, pick the position that feels just right. So for some of us, it might be a little bit more just a leaned and supported heel lift, alternating, just depending on your feet. And then for some of us, it's that planking position. We're in that slight incline, and then we take it into those calf raises. So shoot for the work that feels just right for this one. Full range of motion calf raises if you're in that leaned in plank position. We want to keep that nice sturdy body though, so we keep a little firmness in our chest, a little firmness in our shoulder, a little firmness in our cervical spine and our neck muscles. So we're not looking down at our feet, we're looking at the wall in front of us. Nice work. 30 seconds left. Now, I do like to repeat myself sometimes on this one. Though I set the timer for 1 full minute, that does not mean that you need to go for the full minute. We go to fatigue. Maybe you take a break. Maybe you come back in. Maybe you don't. It's always going to be what's just right for you. Any move might be a little bit different. One man's floor is another man's ceiling, so we make sure we choose the work that feels right and then go to the depth that feels good. 8 seconds left. All right, that's time. Now we're going to come into a side planking position. For our side plank, we're going to go with our elbow and forearm to the wall. And you want to think pinky blade edge to keep you nice and sturdy. So you're going to take your elbow to the wall and then you're going to walk your feet out just a little bit. And I say, make your feet nice and solid. So almost you want to keep like a slight dorsiflexion of the feet. And then for some of us, if it feels good, the top leg is going to lift into a little hover and you're going to do these little micro hip dips. When we do the micro hip dip, we want to still stay strong in the shoulder. It's a light touch of movement just to put that stress on and then pull the stress away. But the shoulder stays engaged, head stays nice and active, legs are strong, feet are strong, you've got it. Five seconds left on this side. All right, that's time. Take a second, flip yourself around. When we go elbow and forearm to the wall, we want to go blade edge, pinky edge to the wall. Find your wall position first, walk your feet out, find your side plank position, and then you choose all those little additionals. Maybe the foot's in a lift. Maybe you add that little touch of movement with the hips. Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Take a second, come off, give your hips a little shake, give your shoulders a little shoop. All right, now we're gonna go wall sit with cactus arms. So you wanna see if you can find a space. We've got just a little bit of room to glide your arms on the wall, and that's why I reposition myself continually. So you're gonna find your wall. You're gonna come down into your wall sit position, and then we're gonna get some posture first. So I want you to think back of the rib cage connected, butt connected, back of your head connected. And then you see if your arms can fly up into that cactus, because it's not for everybody. For some of us, the work is purely in finding that back connection, but back of the ribs, back of the head connected. If your arms can go up into cactus, take them there. And then you see if you can move the arms up and down without losing that connection. So you want to maintain back of the head, back of the ribs, and your butt. Nice work. These can be really challenging for some of us, but then for some of us, it might be just super duper easy. So just know if you're getting here and you're like, oh my God, it's the longest minute of my life, I'm with you. All right, that's time. Take a second, lower your arms, gently push yourself away from the wall. Roll your shoulders out for just a second. Give everything that little etch a sketch shake out. All right, now we're going to take it back to planking position facing the wall, but it's going to be a little one arm, one leg work. So you're going to hold your plank position, but then you're going to free up one hand, and then you're going to free up the opposite leg, bend the knee, and that Free leg is going to do little side leg lifts with a bent knee position. So we want to shoot for one arm plank if you can. If it's better to do two, do two. Find your walked out plank position, free up one arm, free up one leg, and we'll switch at the 30-second mark. And then when we do this work, what we want to shoot for is a little bit of that touch of anti-rotation work. So we've got one arm free, we've got one leg free doing a little bit of work, and we want to stay a little bit forward and steady. So your hips don't wiggle and twist too much. Your chest doesn't wiggle and twist too much. All right, when you're ready, switch hands, switch feet. Single arm, single leg, get sturdy there. One side might be different from the other. So one side might need that second hand support. It might feel good. So find what feels available, what makes you feel strong and confident. Five seconds left. And time. Nice job. Okay, come away from the wall, grab your looping resistance band and your hand weight. All right, now we're going to put a looping resistance band around the middle of our feet. It's going to be a hold of the leg and a work with the bicep curl. So start by just putting the band around your feet. I like opposite hand, opposite leg, one hand to the wall. Inside leg for me, I'm going to pick up and hold. And then the outer arm is going to do your bicep curl. So you've got that resistance and you don't want that band to pull you down. So you're going to hold the leg up in that lifted position. And we are 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other. So get your nice hold and then nice full bicep curl. Elbow sticks connected to the side of the body. Beautiful. Three seconds left. All right, slow release that leg down. Don't let the band snap you down. Go nice and slow. I'm gonna do my little duck walk. Spin yourself around in a way that makes good sense. Switch arms, switch legs. Get your leg up in that lifted position and then take it into your bicep curls. And time. Nice. Okay, slow lower that leg down. Take a second, move your band if you want to, but you might choose to move it up so it comes around your thighs. We're back to the wall to our, no, I say that wrong. Don't put it around your thighs. You want it. Sometimes my brain is a little too fast, too slow. All right, so you're going to come back to your wall sit for posture. So again, we want butt, back of the rib cage, back of the head. And then for this one, if you want to take the legs a little bit out, don't sit so low, focus on that posture. And then with your looping resistance band, we're going to do a little tricep work. So for our tricep work, we hold the band up against our shoulder, we go palm facing out, and we press. So it works in that tricep extension position. And then when we switch, we just get fancy and we flip our wrists and we take it to the other side. So with that back against the wall, we want that good posture. Get your posture first. Butt, back of the ribs, back of your head, load up at the shoulder, palm facing out, and we press out. And the whole entire time you press out, you want to keep that good posture. You want the back of your butt, you want the back of your ribs, and the back of your head to stay connected the best that they can. When you're ready, roll and flip, take it over to the other shoulder, flip palm facing out, and then we press out on the other side. And then we check in that connection, back of the head, back of the ribs and your butt stay connected to the wall. So sometimes what I think is like when I press my palm out, I press my ribs back. All right, that's time. Take a second, release your arms, push slowly and carefully up away from the wall. And now if you want looping resistance band around your thighs, so it's going to be that single leg squat where we avoid the wobble. So we want just that light hand hold just for that proprioceptive touch to stay nice and stable. And then we take a little glance while we do this particular one. So we watch the track of our knee. You want your knee to be tracking over second toe, third toe, roughly so. So you go nice and slow and you do that single leg squat and you go slow because we want to avoid the wobble. It's all about avoiding the wobble. So you want to go nice and slow. Knee goes past those toes. Come back up with good control. Band around your thighs if you want to, just to get that little touch of extra resistance, but totally optional because avoiding the wobble is all its own work. And then once you feel like, okay, I've got a good track, I can see that my knee goes over the toes, I can feel the strength in my leg, then perhaps you keep your gaze forward and keep a little lift in your chest, but you still want to tune in and make sure that that knee is not wobbling too much. You're going with really good slow control. You got it. 3 seconds left. All right, when you're ready, switch feet, swivel around if you like to. Take a second just to find that good path. So the knee goes over second toe, third toe, and we come back up with good control. And then we try to go slow so that we avoid the wobble and we build some really good strength. Of course, if you like that breath coordination, you're going to inhale as you go down and exhale as you push up. And then if like me, if you have flat feet, fallen arches, then you also have to do that light engagement of the arch. You have to keep it in a lifted position so that everything else lines up really nice. You got 3 seconds left. All right, that's time. Take a second. Woo, shake it, shake it, shake it. All right, now we're going into that hinge maneuver. So we're going to put our butt up against the wall. Our feet are a little ahead of us. And you're going to take your hands and make a shelf right at the front pockets of your jeans. And you're gonna go roll in your butt bones so that it feels like you roll your sits bones up onto the wall and you got that nice long spine. And then you roll your butt bones down again, come over the shelf. So we want that nice good hip hinge. Go nice and slow. You wanna feel that roll of your butt. So you're on that high end of the butt, low back, and then you roll across the roundness of your rump. Feel the sits bones get a little bit anchored into the wall, and then come back up. And then follow your breath. Inhale as you go forward. Exhale as you come up. We got 15 seconds left, but to tell you where we're going to head next, we're going to do a hypopressive, that abdominal vacuum facing out, and then we'll do one facing the wall with some sturdy arm positioning. I always like to say with the hypopressive technique, our abdominal vacuum, it's not necessarily for everybody. If you had a recent abdominal surgery, if you have uncontrolled blood pressure, if you have a hernia, those particular things, you definitely just want to stick with the posture, skip the vacuum. So we're going to start by finding a position where your back of your head, back of the ribs, and the back of your butt are connected to the wall. You're going to find your rib cage, and then you're going to slack over your ribs. So you're going to tuck your hands in and under the curve of the ribs and slack over. Once you've got that slacked over position, release your hands. You're going to bend your knees, and you're going to keep a sturdy base. Your gaze will be slightly down at the floor. Now you're going to take a big rib cage filling breath. Think 360 breath, fill the whole ribs up. And then as you exhale, think nice long spine from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Do it again. Inhale, fill the rib cage up, big 360 breath. Exhale, long spine. All right, last breath here. We take a big inhalation, we fill up with air. We exhale, we let almost all of the air out. So we keep about 10% left in the chamber. And then at the end of your exhalation, you hold your breath. You keep your mouth closed, you keep your nose closed. You take a false inhalation and let the diaphragm hug upward. You let the ribs open and expand. You feel a little hollow in your throat. So see if you can find it. At the end of your exhale, close off your nose and mouth and throat. Take a fake inhalation. Don't let any air come in and hold your breath for a second. All right, and then when you're ready, release your air, strong push off away from the wall. We're flipping around so we're facing the wall. When we get to the wall, think about where your ribs are. Your hands are going to be fingertips in line with the edges of your ribs in that mid-Athena position. And then you're going to imagine that your hands are trying to pull the wall apart. So we want this big, sturdy hula hoop frame. So face the wall, hands are about rib width distance apart. Once you've got that, you're going to lean into it just a touch. You want to feel like your arms are taking a little bit of the weight of your body. So that takes you into that slight access forward, but we still want to keep this nice long spine. Once you feel that connection, spread your fingers just a little bit more. And now do that action where your hands are trying to pull the wall apart. Hold that sturdy frame, pulling the wall apart. Gaze is right in front of you at the wall. Now take a big rib cage filling breath. Exhale, get a little taller from your heels to the crown of your head. Inhale, pull the wall apart. Exhale, grow a little taller. Last breath. Inhale, big 360 breath. Fill your rib cage up. And then at the end, you exhale, prepare, swallow, close off nose, mouth, and throat, or pinch your nose closed, keep your mouth closed, take a fake inhalation, don't let any air come in, let the diaphragm suction up, let the ribs lift, open, and expand, hold your breath. And then when you're ready, release your air. Take a second, come away from the wall, shrug out your shoulders. Now we're gonna come down into our wall hip bridge position. So position your blanket, your mat, anything that you like. Put your looping resistance band around your thighs, all the stuff that you like. Find your way so you can put your feet up against the wall in a nice 90-degree bend. And then you might get here and be like, that's all I need. I don't need anything else. You might just stay here. If this feels good, and now you want some hip bridging, you're going to use your exhalation, push into your feet, lift your hips up as high as they comfortably go, and then inhale, slow return back down to the ground. Go nice and slow. Exhale, push into your feet, lift your butt. Inhale, lower down. Now on this next one, think squeeze your butt before you go, as if your feet are trying to grip the wall. And then lift up and then see if you can try to hold that squeeze or engagement of your butt muscles as you lower down. Squeeze, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower down. All right, now the next time your butt touches down, stay down, take it into curl ups. You're gonna exhale, curl up, hold, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, slow return. Exhale, curl up, hold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, slow return. And then take a few more, just go with your pace. Exhale, curl up and hold. We're holding the curl up, not our breath. So we exhale to come up. The exhale helps us on our effort. The inhale helps us on our return. But in between, you take as many breaths as you need. One last up and down. And then the next time you come down, slide your left leg up so it's in a longer position up against the wall, and let your right leg come across the left into a figure four. Now, for some of us, this is going to be perfect. You won't need much more. If this feels good and you want a little bit more stretch or feeling of positive stress, you're going to slide that left leg back down so it comes into that 90-degree bend, and then hang here for a few moments and just take a few slow, deep breaths. If it feels good for that last cycle of breath before you release, to pick the legs up from the wall, bring them a little bit closer to your chest, but only if that feels good to your body. And then slow release, slide your left leg back up, uncross, and then we'll recross. So right leg nice and long, left leg is going to hop over. For some of us, that's good. For some of us, it feels a little bit better to slide it back down to that 90-degree bend. So go where it feels comfortable, hang there, notice your breath. All right, now for this last cycle of breath, if you like, pull the legs a little bit closer to your chest, but only if that feels good on this side. Take a breath. And then slow return it back to the wall, uncross your legs. And now we're going to walk our butt in a little bit closer, or you're going to roll a little off the side. So we're going to go into little legs up the wall to finish with a couple of deep breaths. So you're going to scoot your bum a little bit closer to the wall so your hip kind of gets hugged up against the wall. And then you swing your legs up and around so you get into that nice supported legs up the wall situation. And then once you've got your way there, just take 5 slow, deep, intentional breaths. Legs up the wall can be good for our nervous system. Legs up the wall can be good for venous return. If you've had a day where you've just been walking, and your feet feel a little fatigued or your feet feel a little swollen, legs up the wall can be a really nice place because the venous return, it's sort of an effortless endeavor. So the blood flow just comes back down to the heart without having to do too much energy effort, and then it just kind of does a nice lymphatic drain as well. So this is just one of those, like, if at the end of the day, if you do nothing else, legs up the wall can be really beneficial. Take one more breath. Our only last little thing that we're going to do up against the wall is with our foam roller. So if you're sticking around for foam roller, grab your foam roller. We're going to come back to the wall to do a little bit of an interesting long spine up against the wall. Hopefully it'll feel really good because it feels really good to me. So when we get our foam roller, we'll put it in long spine position, but we'll come up against the wall. So we've got it so that it's up, back of the head, tailbone, back of the ribs. We want all that ground covered. And then we put ourselves so that we're in that little bit of a wall sit, but then we're going to roll that roller from shoulder to shoulder. So you push in with your legs. So you keep that sturdy position of your back up against the roller. It's up against the back of your head. And then it rolls across those beautiful curves of our back, right? So it's working that cervical spine curve, the split between the cervical spine, where the muscles are, and it rolls across those muscles as well. So we take it and we get some nice good rolls going on. Karen, I can't tell if you're coming or going or just adjusting so that you could see where we're heading next. I was doing this morning and I was like, I could stay here all day. All right, take one more good roll from side to side, and now we're going to take it down to the ground. So clear your space or clear your gear, clear your hand weights, clear your looping resistance band. I'm going to spin my mat around just so that it looks right in your view. So get yourself readjusted so you're in a good, comfortable position. Happy Friday. And then once you've got your space reorganized. We're going to come back to that long spine position. So now you're going to put your butt on one end of the roller. Come down nice and slow. Get your spine all adjusted so it feels really sturdy, really held up, nice and comfortable. Good wide base of support with the legs. Arms are going to open right up into that T position, palms facing up. Take a few slow, deep breaths. We're going to go hug, elbows up, elbows down, open up, switch the cross in your arms. So arms are nice and wide. You're going to go right arm on top, left arm on bottom, a little hug with the elbows stacked. Elbows are going to come up toward your forehead. Elbows are going to go down toward your belly button. They're going to come to mid position. Open your arms back up, switch the top arm. Left arm comes across. Elbows come up. Elbows go down. Open them back up. Right arm comes on top. Elbows go up. Elbows go down. Back to mid position. Open the arms nice and wide. Left arm on top. Elbows go up. Elbows go down. Mid position. Open the arms out. One more time through. Right arm on top. Elbows go up. Elbows go down. Back to mid position. Open your arms out. Left arm on top. Go up. Elbows go down. Position. Arms come out. Arms are going to flip, palms facing down and a little bit lower. So think a little bit of in that A-frame position. Walk your feet back in so they're about hip width distance apart. Sturdy arms or cupcake fingers. That's my hold that I like. Take it into alternating knee lifts, one leg at a time, but go nice and slow. And as we do this little touch of work here, think about the back of your head, the backs of your ribs, and the back of your butt connected to the roller. And then just slow, steady work here so that you can follow your breath. Exhale is going to help you on the effort. So for me, that's right in that middle space where my muscles are doing the most work. If this feels good and you're feeling nice and sturdy, float both legs up to that reverse table, dorsiflex your feet so you take them into some heel taps. So keep that nice tension in your foot. It tugs on that internal fascia, so it just kind of helps hold that sturdy frame of the wateriness of our body. And then we're nice and sturdy, still want that back rib connection, still want that back head connection if we can find it. Now, for some of us, if you have that slightly rounded upper body or that slightly head forward position, no right or wrong, we do want to maybe put a little blanket or a towel underneath the head so it feels connected. You get that good connection and you feel nice and embraced in your core, but not braced. So we want to be able to move smoothly through the work. Excellent. Take one or two more here. And then when you're ready, float your feet back down, soften that dorsiflexion of your feet. Arms are going to come up a little bit higher than T, somewhere between T and Y. Flip your palms so they're facing up, and then allow your arms to be a little bit heavy here. So like for me, in that somewhere in between space, my hands don't connect to the ground unless I kind of push them down. So I'm going to let them hang in that light little hover. Just get that nice stretch up and through that pec area, armpit, chest, and take a few slow, big breaths here. One more breath. We're going to inhale. Arms are going to come a little bit higher. Think big good morning stretch. And then the arms are going to float up in front of the chest. And we'll take it into some scapular shoulder rolls. So on your next inhale, spread your fingers and bring your arms up a little bit higher and get that yawning pandiculation. And then your exhale softens you. Get that back of the rib cage reconnected to the foam roller. Bring your arms in front of your chest, palms facing in, scapular shoulder roll, like you're trying to hug your shoulder blades around the roller. One more roll, and then when you're ready, take it in reverse, go the other way. One more good roll, and then we're going to slow roll off of the roller. So carefully come off, and then we're flipping it around so it comes right underneath the upper back. So you're just going to spin it along, get your upper back body connected to the roller, and then once you've got your way there, pick up and a nice slow roll. Hold up your ponytail, hold up your clothes, do all those little things so that you can find a nice comfortable up and down glide. And then on this one, especially since you're right up against your back, you're right up against that spine and the nervous system, slow can be considered really nice for the nervous system. So if you can slow this down, go as slow as you can. One more good slow roll up and down. And then we're going to line up with our armpits. So once you feel like the roller's roughly lined up with the back of your armpit, put your butt down, tip over to the right. We're going to see if we can keep our hands up and out of the way. Roll across, take it over to the left, find that muscle at the back of the left armpit. Roll across, take your time, ponytail up, hands out of the way. But if your hands help you come across, then I say hands, let the hands help you. All right, now the next time we roll over to the right, we're going to stay on the right side, but we're going to move it down just a little bit. So roll to the right and then give yourself a moment to do that little readjust. So we're going to come into a side lying position and we're going to scooch the roller down so it comes around that like broad bra strap area. So a little bit lower than the armpit. Get into that side body position, and then where this hand lands, you can clear it up, or you can just let it softly land on the ground. Just go where it feels comfortable and tip yourself a little bit forward and back. One more tip forward and back, and then we're going to move it down just an inch or so. So lift up just enough so you can move the roller down an inch or so, and then come right back to that tipping forward and back. Now, as we go here in this little space, you're going to see if as you roll forward and back, is there a place that's a little bit more interesting than the rest? And then you're going to see if you can land on that spot. And I want you to think rib circles. So it's not going to look big and grand, and I'll probably overemphasize my movement, but yours does not need to be that big. But you want to think big circle of the ribs, but yours will look just what yours look like. And we just want to feel like we're getting that little bit of pivotal movement. So we're trapping the skin and connective tissue and the muscles, and then we're just moving the bony structure within. So get a couple of good circles of the ribs. See if you can take it in reverse, go the other way. Don't worry about it being perfect. We're just trying to get some novel movement into that space. Take one more moment and then lift up, move the roller down, find a new spot and come back to that tipping forward and back. One more tip forward and back, and then we're going to move it one last time down, but this time we're going to go into a little side bend. So you still want to be like you're in sort of that rib cage area, so we're in that bony structure. So come down just another inch and then lower your bottom arm. Let your top arm reach up and over, and then slide your top leg back. Put a whole bunch of space into that front pockets of the jeans. Reach that leg way back, get a nice big breath. Use your arms, use your legs, use the floor. Push into your tools and come up nice and slow. Flip yourself around. I'm going to flip myself around so I'm facing out to you, but we're coming up again to that muscle at the back of the armpits. You're going to come over to the other side. Hands in play or hands out of the way. Just go for what feels good. And then we're just tipping forward and back. One more tip forward and back. And now you're going to move it on down so it comes underneath that broad bra strap area, the higher point of the broad bra strap area. Once you've found that spot, take it back to your tip forward and back. One more tip forward and back, and then we're going to lift up, move it down another inch, find your new spot, and then come back to your tipping forward and back. All right, and then as you tip forward and back here, you're going to notice, is there a spot that you land on that feels a little bit more interesting than the rest? Can you land on that spot and add those rib circles? So we keep it a little compressed, we keep the body weight into it, and then we add that novel movement, still keeping that skin and connective tissue on the roller so it gets compressed, and then we sort of wiggle the bony structure. And then if you're taking your rib circles in one direction, maybe go in reverse the other way. Nice. And then once you've done just enough, move it on down one more inch, find that new spot, still staying in that bony structure of the ribs, and then come back to your tipping forward and back. Lovely. One more tip forward and back. And then when you're ready, we're going to flip it around so we're in tabletop position. So spin yourself around so that you come onto all fours. And then we're going to go back to that hand position with our thumbs. So now you're going to use the foam roller, put your thumbs together on the foam roller, and now you're going to work through, it'll cover that whole bottom pad of the hand. So keep your thumbs together. I say a little bit of your butt back towards your heels, so you're not putting too much stress on the shoulders or too much stress on the wrists. Think of it more like increased blood flow to the heels of your hands. All right, one more moment there, and then we're gonna roll off onto the blade edge of the hand. So now definitely keep your butt weight back towards your heels, and now we're rolling the pinky blade edge. So you're rolling from the tip of your pinky finger down to your wrist. Nice. One more moment there. Now you're going to put your soft tissue of your wrist onto the foam roller. You're going to let your other hand hold it in a little trap, and then you're going to do that little pivotal movement, but go really nice and light. It's a delicate skin. There's not like, if there's bones, but there's not like, just not too much, right? We just want to move the skin, the top surface, feel like there's a little bit of an increased blood flow, feel like you've created just a touch of warmth. Take one more pivot and then flip, go palm facing up, wrist position again, and then right back to your trap and pivot. All right, one more moment there, and then take it over to the other hand. Wrist on, trap it, and pivot. Notice if you pick up any tension in your jaw. All right, take one more moment, and then when you're ready, flip it, palm facing up, wrist on, trap, and pivot. Excellent. One more pivot, and then we're going to go into a little thread the needle. So walk your knees out so they're knees underneath the hips. Left hand's going to be on the roller, right hand's going to thread through. As you thread your hands through, you're in a little twist. So you think right ear, right shoulder towards the ground, and then the left arm hangs out on the roller, and it just gets nice and extended out. And then once you're there, take a few slow, deep breaths. One more breath, and then on your next inhale, come up nice and slow. Right hand finds the roller, left hand threads through and underneath. We think left ear, left shoulder towards the ground as we stretch that right arm out, and then we come back to just some slow, deep breaths. One more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly come back in. Front pocket of the jeans, hip bones. We're going to line up the foam roller so it comes right underneath the front pockets of the jeans, right in line with those bony protrusions. And then take a second just to kind of settle onto the roller, give a little hip slush just to make sure everything feels good. And then if everything's not feeling too tender, take it into a roll. Roll over to the right side, roll across the front pockets of your jeans, and then roll over to the left. The next time you roll over to the right, stay there. And then add that little tipping forward and back. So like you're tipping into the front pocket of your jeans and then tip into the back pocket of your jeans. One more tip forward and back. And then when you're ready, roll across the hip bones, front pockets of the jeans, take it over to the left. And then once you're on that left side, tip forward and back, a little into the front pocket of the jeans, a little into the back pocket. Nice. One more tip forward and back. And then we're going to take some just big rolls of the thighs. So you're going to come back to center, but move the foam roller down so it comes under the thick, meaty part of your thighs, and just pick up your toes just a touch. So use your elbows and forearms to take a nice slow roll up towards the front pockets of the jeans and down towards the knees. If it feels good, tip a little over to the right, get a little right side of the thigh roll. And then if it feels good, tip a little bit over to the left, get a little on the outside of that left thigh roll. And then if it feels good, come back to center so that you can push yourself up to a tabletop position. Find your table, hands find the roller, push into that roller, lift your butt up, come into a soft standing forward fold, steamroll the tops of your feet. One more steamroll to the tops of the feet and then leave the foam roller on the ground. Bend your knees a lot. Exhale, push strong into your feet. Come up nice and easy. And then put one foot onto the roller and just do that nice big bug squish and pivot. When I do the bug squish and pivot, I like to feel like I put a little heat into my bottom of my foot. So you want to feel like that texture of your foam roller kind of grabs the skin and it gives it a little bit of that semi rug burn sensation. You don't want to injure yourself, but you do want that stimulation. All right, now see if you can just pivot right on down to the heel, get that good calcaneus waking up. All right, one more pivot there. And then when you're ready, set that foot down, switch sides, middle of your foot and pivot. Get that nice feeling of warmth and heat created at the bottom of the foot. And then when it feels good, pivot on up so you find your heel and then a nice good pivot there. Awesome. One more good pivot. And then when you're ready, set that foot down. We're just going to bend down, grab the roller, flip it to tall setting. And then once you've got your foam roller in tall setting, hands to the foam roller, walk it back to that nice happy down dog stretch and just let everything have that nice softness in the knees, a little softness in your belly, a little softness in your back. Take a nice big breath. Lovely. Bend your knees a lot, push strong into your feet, use your exhale to come up and then shrug out your shoulders, shake out the Etch-a-Sketch. You guys are amazing. Nice work today.